Hey everybody, it's Miranda here from the Swirly Do's Education Design Team, and I'm here today with a tutorial on how to make this little stocking slash card. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the back of it with a paper that you can see the writing on, and I'm going to make it into a card to send to my grandmother. But you'll probably saw this on the blog hop, but I didn't show the tutorial for it yet. One thing ahead of time, I did hand draw this stocking. What I did is I didn't think I was capable of drawing it myself, but it was super simple. But what I did is I just Googled Christmas stockings on Google and then hit images, and it just came up with all these different shapes and stuff, so you can kind of choose which one you like. You can also print them out if you wanted to, if you're not good at just freehanding it. But this one I just drew myself. I drew like 3 of them before I ended up liking the shape. So I'm going to try, even though I've got stuff glued, I'm going to try to just trace this one again because I did like the shape of it. So that's what we're going to make. What you're going to need is the Nutcracker sweet paper, obviously, that comes in your kit. I've chosen this one for the base part, and then I'm going to use this for the, make sure it fits, yep, I'm going to use this one for the top part because this is a separate sheet of paper. And then one thing I like to do before I get started on anything, if I know I'm going to do fussy cutting or anything, like here I'm obsessed with these ballerinas from the line, so definitely want to add one of those again. And then over here I did like a little dangling charm thing. This is a Sizzix ornament style, and then these ballerina slippers. I wanted to show y'all how I fussy cut these too. Maybe give some of you a little tip if you have any problems fussy cutting, because these are really detailed. If you can tell, I got into all those little areas. So that is what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start fussy cutting. I did want to show y'all a tip for fussy cutting, like I said. So if you can see here, before I start doing my outer areas, cutting around the outside edge, anywhere where there's like a little intricate place to cut, like right here or anywhere else, I do that first because your paper is more sturdy right now because it's, you know, got this extra cardstock around it. If you go ahead and cut like the, you know, the bulk of it out, it's more flimsy when you go in there to cut the little areas. So what I do is I just go ahead and start fussy cutting it when it's still attached pretty well. And another tip, y'all, in case you haven't noticed, I am more moving the paper than I am moving my scissors, if that makes sense. Instead of like, oops, sorry y'all. Instead of like holding this and trying to like move my scissors around, I just kind of keep my scissors cutting very little, like just barely pushing my scissors and moving my paper. Those curved areas, I just move the paper myself. So hopefully that makes sense and you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about, but it really helps when you're cutting anything intricate. Okay, I've got my elements fussy cut, and I went ahead and pulled out some flowers to the side so I can choose from those when I get started. And now I've got these 2 chipboard die cuts. I do not own either of these, but I have some lovely friends who sent me some Christmas die cuts, so these were one of them. This one she already embossed for me too, so that's awesome. And then this one just is a Noel one. So I'm just going to paint these white, and then I'm going to ink up the edges when I'm done with frayed burlap. This one is my favorite distress ink. It's the same thing I did to these, so I just painted them white and then went around the edges with the frayed burlap. And then what I did here is I just went across the raised areas with the frayed burlap. I am going to pick out a mask from my stash. On this one I just used this, it's like a damask mask from the Crafters Workshop, and it looks like that, 12 by 12. And I'm going to go ahead and paint these. Okay, now I'm going to trace my stocking out. I wish I had my other template because it's going to be kind of hard with these, but I'm going to go ahead and just trace around it. with whatever side you want, you know, facing frontward. Keep that in mind when you are either drawing or using a template that you printed out from online. And I always try to line mine up as close to the edge as possible so I don't waste any paper. Okay, now that I've got my two basic shapes cut out, I just put this one here so I can cover up that, and it's kind of looks different. And I'll add some laces up there. Just pick any laces from your stash if you guys are going to create one of these. I also, on this one, used just some different punches, you can see there, and just punch some of the paper out of the paper line to do that one. So now I'm going to mask it. I'm going to take this to the side because that part's not going to get masked. And when I did this one, I didn't do this part first. So when I laid down my mask, I kind of had a little bit of gap up here because I couldn't get my mask to lay flat. And I'm going to use a palette knife. I'm just going to grab my mask and place it on here. And I want to make sure my stocking is straight, so the masks are going straight down the stocking. And I'm not going to worry about masking up there either because that's getting covered up. Okay, y'all, so this is the basic structure that I've covered so far. The rest of it is pretty basic. It's just up to what you want to do with it to decorate. So I'm going to go into a time lapse of me doing the rest of it. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below and I will answer them. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just adhere the top of my stocking down, and I'm just going to use regular ATG tape to do this. And I'm sorry that my arm pops up into the screen a couple of times. And now I'm taking my Crop-A-Dile and I'm just punching a small hole over on the left side of the top so I can adhere my jump rings and attach my ornament and my ballerina slippers. And now I'm just using some crocheted lace from my trim. It's really fluffy and I'm going to adhere it on the bottom, and then I'm going to put it also at the top of that one, so it makes it really fluffy and full there at the top of the stocking. And I'm just using hot glue to adhere that down as well. And I'm just going to be careful not to cover up that little hole that I punched so that I can still adhere or attach my jump rings into that hole. So there I've attached that top layer of lace, and I'm cutting a little section out over there on the left just so that that hole is not covered up, which you won't be able to tell when all the other embellishments are on there. Now I'm taking some pink pom-pom trim that I had in my stash. I wanted this stocking to be a little more girly than the other one. It's going to my mother-in-law, so I'm putting some pink pom-pom trim in the center of that. Now I'm just going to attach my ornament and my ballerina slippers. So I just took my craft knife and pushed a little baby hole in the top center of both of those so that my jump rings will fit in there. If I used eyelets, it would have been too big and it wouldn't have even fit on the ballerina slippers. For anything really lightweight like that, I don't really worry about attaching eyelets. I think it'll hold up pretty well. Now I'm taking some pink, really dainty little lace from my stash. I'm going to tie a big bow there. And I want the strings, or the strands coming out from the bow, to be really long and just dangle down the side of the stocking. And now I'm just playing around. I have a little graphic 45 keyhole, and I was just playing around with where I wanted that to go, and I did decide I wanted that at the bottom. And I'm attaching the Noel piece out of chipboard that we painted earlier on, and I'm going to tuck that keyhole back behind there. And I just used hot glue for the sake of the tutorial. I did barely attach it, barely push it down, and I'm going to go back with E6000. For anything metal, I usually use E6000. I'm just kind of fluffing up the letters and leaving room for the little ballerina to tuck down in there and kind of playing with where I want her to go. Now I'm just adding a little flower to the top there, and that basically is what I have done. If you guys have any questions at all, just shoot me a comment. I will get back to you as soon as possible. I'd love to see your version of it. So if you guys do one, please let me know. Thanks. Bye.